When I first heard strong murmurs about OnePlus making a budget phone last year, I completely abhorred the idea. I always wanted OnePlus to go and make an all-out flagship phone with pixel-grade cameras. In fact, I even tweeted about it. Looks like someone at OnePlus has been stalking me. Okay, maybe that might be stretching things a little too far, but the result of that is the new OnePlus 7 Pro. OnePlus is clearly playing in the big leagues now. Hi, I'm Ershad from Mr. Phone, and this is our full review of the newly launched OnePlus 7 Pro. We're making a lot of OnePlus 7 Pro videos and also taking a lot of requests for the kind of videos that you'd like to see. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever Mr. Phone puts out an awesome new tech video. And yes, the subscribe button is red in color. This is a darker maroonish shade of a case on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Interested? Well, this case is by Ringke, a popular case manufacturer. The case name is called Ringke Fusion, and they make some great other products as well, like for example this power clip car mount and this invisible glass for smartwatches as well. So if you want to see more of their products, head to the description. They have some great accessories for smartphones. I wouldn't have in my wildest of imaginations expected OnePlus to make the display the USP of one of its flagship smartphones. Well, we have the OnePlus 7 Pro for that now. The 6.67-inch 90Hz Fluid AMOLED QHD Plus panel on the OnePlus 7 Pro is a treat for the sore eyes. This is not the first time that we are seeing high refresh rate displays on a phone, by the way. But what was exclusively limited to gaming phones like the Asus ROG Phone or the Razer Phone 2 has now trickled down to a mainstream flagship. And I'm really glad that that has happened, because the difference in daily usage experience is palpable. Unfortunately though, I really cannot translate that experience onto camera for you guys, primarily because even if we could shoot 90 FPS videos, YouTube cannot play back at 90 FPS. And secondly, even if YouTube could play back at 90 FPS, you guys need a monitor with 90 Hz refresh rate to view the smoothness in action. But I can definitely show you the difference in frame rates when scrolling the same app on the OnePlus 60 and the OnePlus 7 Pro. You guys really have to see it in real life to believe it. The motion blur is vastly reduced, and this is something that I really want Apple to implement in the iPhone this year. By the way, that's not the only new thing about the display though. The display is now curved like the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus or the Huawei P30 Pro. But there is no practical use of the curve like the Galaxy S10 Plus, where you have an edge panel, although the curved edge does light up when a notification comes in. That said, I couldn't find a way to turn it off. If you ask me though, I'm not a big fan of these curved edges because you can actually notice the discoloration at the edges. Oh, and let's not forget that curving the display increases the area of impact during a fall, and there are chances that the phone can break easily. Anyway, curved displays are cool and makes the phone look more premium, so I guess OnePlus had to go for it as a distinguishing factor in its Pro variant of the OnePlus 7 series. The display is protected with a layer of Corning's Gorilla Glass 6 on top of it, and another layer of a horrendous screen protector which you must remove and throw in the dustbin. What I like about the display settings is that you can switch between vivid, natural and custom color palettes. But taking it further, inside the custom setting, you can also change the color profile to NTSC, DCI-P3 or sRGB color spaces. Such flexibility is not available in many other smartphones. You can also change the screen resolution to QHD Plus or FHD Plus, but by default it is set to auto resolution, which means that it switches between QHD Plus and FHD Plus on the fly. Obviously, you also get HDR support, which is probably why OnePlus has pre-installed Netflix with the phone. Moreover, you also get wideband L1 certification for seamless HD streaming. The display on a smartphone is what pulls you into the experience, and the OnePlus 7 Pro definitely does not disappoint in this regard. Dare I say this, the OnePlus 7 Pro could be the best display on an Android flagship yet. Having said that, the Galaxy S10 Plus is definitely better because it's got more brightness and punchier colors as well. Even HDR10 Plus support is definitely an added advantage. But you know what guys, do you remember Will Smith from the movie Hitch? Well, he was a smooth son of a gun, wasn't he? Well, the OnePlus 7 Pro is Will Smith's character from Hitch, personified. Although I don't know if it will land you chicks though, you're out on your own for that. Watching videos on the full screen notchless OnePlus 7 Pro is a delight. Couple that with the supremely narrow bezels, you will also want to use the phone and not your TV for your favorite shows on Netflix and Hotstar. Furthermore, OnePlus has added stereo speakers now. So the massive earpiece slit on the top bezel functions as a loudspeaker working in conjunction with the bottom firing speaker. These speakers are further enhanced by the Dolby Atmos support you get on the phone. For such tiny speaker drivers, Atmos literally means nothing. Having said that, the speakers do sound good, maybe not Pixel or iPhone grade, but they come really close. With the headphone jack gone, you will have to depend on a dongle for your 3.5mm accessories. But OnePlus doesn't bundle one in the box. Neither does it bundle a pair of earphones. This is a major letdown if you ask me. However, I did try the sound quality through the OnePlus 60's dongle and it was pretty good. The wireless audio performance was great too with the new OnePlus Bullets Wireless 2 that uses the aptX codec for streaming. By the way, if you have a pair of LDAC wireless headphones like the Sony WH-1000XM3, you're going to get an even better sound because the OnePlus 7 Pro supports Sony's proprietary high-resolution codec. All in all, the multimedia experience on the OnePlus 7 Pro is second to none, and this is easily one of the major reasons why I'd recommend a OnePlus 7 Pro over many other flagships out there. If you look at it closely, the design ID of the OnePlus 7 Pro feels like a mashup of different smartphones like the OnePlus 60, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Vivo Nex. The OnePlus 7 Pro is similar to the Galaxy S10 Plus when it comes to the curved front glass. From the rear, except for the triple camera setup, it looks a lot like the OnePlus 60. And yes, the pop-up selfie camera has been passed down from the Nex, which is made by Vivo, a sister company of OnePlus from the BBK family. But all of it together looks cohesive and super premium. The Nebula Blue variant looks attractive, and the best part is that it is a matte finish. Unlike glossy back smartphones like the OnePlus 60 for example, the fingerprints are not immediately visible on the phone. By the way, the pop-out selfie camera looks damn cool and it is genuinely functional. It can also be used for face unlock and it works extremely fast. However, it will reduce the lifespan of the module if you use it often. So I'd suggest against using face lock. In any case, it doesn't work well in the dark, and that's fine because the new in-display fingerprint scanner is super duper fast. It unlocks in a jiffy. However, the pop-out selfie camera adds to the girth of the phone, and this is where the design takes a hit. The ergonomics are fine for a big phone, but it is just too big in my opinion. Using the phone with one hand is not easy. Also, the 206-gram weight of the phone makes it super heavy. I couldn't play PUBG for an hour straight without hurting my wrist. This is a massive phone, mind you, and if a big man like me finds it unwieldy to handle, people with smaller hands are going to find this really annoying to use with one hand. In comparison, the Galaxy S10 Plus is big as well, but it is lightweight at 175 grams. You know what? Big phones need to be lighter. That's the takeaway from here. Also, considering it has a fairly thick 8.8mm profile, the camera bump on the rear could have been easily avoided. But the OLED slider has now moved slightly lower, making it easier to reach. I think this is one of my most often used features on the phone. Moving on, I'd be doing injustice to this review if I didn't talk about the haptic feedback engine on the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's really good now. It is almost up there with the Pixel 3 XL and the iPhone XS Max. There are times when the vibration motor fails, especially when two apps need to ping the phone for vibration feedback. For example, if you're scrolling through the app drawer using the alphabet handle on the right edge, you can feel the phone vibrating when you land on each alphabet. It feels so darned good. But if a message pops up at the same time, the vibration motor fails on certain occasions. I think OnePlus just has to code the software properly. Otherwise, the vibration feedback that you get while typing or in a game like PUBG is just next level. When you pull the trigger in any gun in PUBG, you can feel the vibration at the trigger icon. It just enhances the gaming experience by leaps and bounds. You can also feel the vibration feedback when you are straightening the image using the edit feature in the default gallery app. In fact, there are many scenarios like this you will keep stumbling upon. It also works when you use the optical fingerprint scanner. Unsurprisingly, to reduce the price of the phone, OnePlus hasn't gone for an IP certification this time around as well. But OnePlus claims that you can actually dunk this phone in a bucket of water. Having said that, the peace of mind that you get with the IP certification rating on phones like the Galaxy S10 Plus and the P30 Pro actually make you want to take it into a swimming pool and dunk it. I'm not so sure that you can do that with the OnePlus 7 Pro. The OnePlus 7 Pro runs on Oxygen OS 9.5.2 based on Android Pie. It is running on the April 1 security patch. Oxygen OS is the most polished Android skin that doesn't take away from the essence of stock Android. It continues to be my favorite Android operating system, even more than stock Android, because the additional features are extremely useful. For example, I really love the dark theme and the fact that you can have custom color accents. Also, the flexibility to change the grid sizes and icon packs is super useful too. Having said that, the OnePlus 7 Pro brings a few new features in the new build and they are all pretty cool. The new Zen mode is genuinely useful. It shuts down the phone for 20 minutes so that you can spend time with your loved ones. You cannot cancel Zen mode once you activate it. You can only make calls, notifications are shut off, and you can only use the camera app. I actually used the Zen mode on a dinner date with my wife and we had a legitimate conversation for once. We as a nation really need to cut down on our time with the phone drastically. Well, I find it difficult because it is an occupational hazard. What is your reason? Gaming mode has been improved to include a Fnatic mode now. For those who don't know, Fnatic is a professional esports organization with players from across the world competing in popular esport tournaments of games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends and more. Now this mode will be appreciated by gamers. Apart from optimizing the performance of the CPU and GPU, it also puts the phone in an advanced D&D mode. Furthermore, the haptic feedback improvements in a game like PUBG are actually applied in this mode. These are legit improvements and I genuinely use the Fnatic mode while playing PUBG. You also get a new screen recorder that is extremely minimalistic and easy to use. For the first time on a OnePlus smartphone, you get a triple camera setup on the rear. What you get is a 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 sensor with an f/1.6 aperture lens, an 8 megapixel telephoto sensor that can do 3x lossless zoom, and a dedicated 16MP wide angle camera with a 116-degree field of view. There's also the 16MP selfie camera in the pop-out module. The camera app is mostly the same with well laid out modes, but you get the additional toggles to switch on the wide angle and telephoto lenses. Additionally, you now get a few notifications to ensure that you don't damage the pop-out selfie camera. Firstly, if you drop the phone while taking a selfie, the phone detects the fall using the gyroscope and the selfie module quickly retracts, ensuring that you don't break it. And secondly, if you open and close it too often, you get a pop-up that requests you not to do that. And finally, if you push it manually with your finger, the phone asks you to refrain. Coming to the pictures themselves, I have a detailed comparison with flagship phones that include the Pixel 3 XL, iPhone XS Max and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. However, let me break down my findings for you. The primary rear camera takes great landscape shots with crisp details, but as usual, it suffers from the oversaturation syndrome that plagues OnePlus phones. In fact, faces look soft in selfies as well. I like the color tone of faces in selfies, but the crisp details are missing. Close-up shots are replete with fine details that look stunning. The camera does struggle with exposure in warmer settings, as the final image ends up looking like someone infused the picture with jaundice. The telephoto camera is useful for a closer crop and the color reproduction is identical to the main camera, but I could notice some noise at closer crop. The wide-angle camera is another useful addition, but the images look soft. The fixed focus is also an issue. Unfortunately, you can't shoot videos with the wide-angle camera. Interestingly though, you can shoot videos with a telephoto or switch when you're shooting using the regular camera. Talking about videos, the image stabilization and the picture quality are great in 4K video recording. However, I find it annoying that the OnePlus 7 Pro has the same red face issue that I encountered in the P30 Pro. 1080p video looks great though. Sound recording is good, but still not flagship grade, unfortunately. Low light shots by default are noisy and look average, but the nightscape mode is a marked improvement over the OnePlus 60 and it looks really crisp. It looks almost as good as Pixel's night sight, and that is saying a lot. But if you want the best low light shots, it is better to stick with the Huawei P30 Pro because the nightscape still works only with landscape shots and close-ups in low light are not going to be drastically different. Finally, you can also shoot 48 megapixel images using the Pro mode. That said, the details in the JPEG are not as impressive as the results I achieved with a phone like the View 20. Having said that, you can shoot in RAW and maybe make a better photo with post-processing using Lightroom. The one thing that the OnePlus 7 Pro needed in order to be the best flagship out there was actually pixel-grade cameras, like I mentioned at the start of the review. But unfortunately, OnePlus falls short yet again. Honestly, there is a lot of room for improvement in the OnePlus 8 Pro, and honestly, I wouldn't mind OnePlus spending more money on R&D and increasing the price a little more, but giving you the best camera experience out there. Having said that, here's something that should excite the tinkerers. The OnePlus 7 Pro has camera to API support out of the box. Obviously, there is no official port yet for the OnePlus 7 Pro, but I tried Arnova's version of the app that worked for the OnePlus 6 and it worked fine, except for one glitch. The selfie camera's images were broken. Anyway, the difference in image quality and color processing is night and day. I absolutely love how the pictures look from the Gcam port. I'm sure that someone will be able to make a proper stable build for the OnePlus 7 Pro, and that could make this phone the unbeatable flagship. The OnePlus 7 Pro is the first phone with Snapdragon 855 that we've had the pleasure of testing. In fact, even the other specs are excellent. The OnePlus 7 Pro starts at 6 gigs of RAM and goes up to a whopping 12 gigs. We got the highest variant with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of fast flash storage using the UFS 3.0 2-lane file system. Note this, before the OnePlus 7 Pro, only the Samsung Galaxy Fold came with UFS 3.0 storage. With UFS 3.0, we now have Android phones in the touching distance of the iPhone XS Max when it comes to storage performance. In the Android bench run, the OnePlus 7 Pro achieved read-write speeds of 1443 MB per second and 385 MB per second respectively. The read speed is lower than the iPhone XS Max, which is the fastest we've recorded till date, which was 1519 MB per second, but the write speed is higher than even the iPhone XS Max, which had hit 236 MB per second in our testing. Okay, these are just numbers, and what does that mean for the end user? Well, all of this grunt is required for the phone to run system-wide animations, UI effects, and app scrolling at a smooth 90 FPS speed so that it syncs with the 90 Hz display on the phone. The OnePlus 7 Pro is undoubtedly, as a result, the fastest and the smoothest Android flagship I have tested till date. And with 12 gigs of RAM, apps and even high-end games stay in memory for longer than you'd actually want to. The raw performance on offer here is phenomenal. It shows in the excellent daily performance. What you see on your screen right now is a handy comparison of the Antutu and Geekbench scores of the best Android phones we've tested till date and the iPhone XS Max. The OnePlus 7 Pro is among the best phones for high-quality AAA mobile titles. I ran the Gamebench test in PUBG at these settings, which is HDR, Ultra FPS, Anti-Aliasing on, and Shadows on. I played the game for 62 minutes and I got a median FPS of 40 with 98% stability. Moreover, it just went from 36 degrees to 39 degrees, staying under the 40-degree mark even when actual temperature in Delhi NCR was at 40 degrees. The new 10-layer liquid cooling really does a good job. Up until now, everything about the daily performance and gaming has been hunky-dory. Wait for it, there is one problem though. OnePlus didn't share a list of games that support the 90 Hz display, which means that these games have to be unlocked by the developers to run at 90 FPS. So I took a list of games from the other phones like the ROG phone and the Razer phone too. For some odd reason, not a single game crossed 60 FPS. Not Super Mario Run, Darkness Rises, Wayne Glory, Real Racing 3, or the many other games that played at higher frame rates on the ROG phone or the Razer phone too. In fact, even in a game like FZ9 Time Shift that lets you change the FPS setting to 200 FPS, the OnePlus 7 Pro was capped at 90 FPS. It was completely baffling considering there was no game that could make use of the smoothness offered by the 90Hz display. Well, I did ask OnePlus about this issue, and at the time of shooting this review, OnePlus hadn't whitelisted any games to run above 60 FPS on the OnePlus 7 Pro because they were testing for heating issues and battery performance issues as well. Maybe by the time this phone goes on retail and you guys get your hands on it, there could be a bunch of games which support 90 FPS and as a result 90 Hz smoothness on this display. I will definitely update this review and maybe mention it in the comments once we get an update from OnePlus themselves. For the duration of the review, I used the OnePlus 7 Pro on a Jio and Airtel connection, and I faced no network issues or call drop issues at all. The OnePlus 7 Pro supports dual VoLTE as well. The earpiece sounds good too, nothing much to complain really. The 4G data was stable as well, and there were no connectivity issues like when I faced with the Samsung Galaxy S10e or the Galaxy S10 Plus. The Wi-Fi connectivity was stable and the speeds were good too. It is no surprise then that OnePlus actually had to increase the battery capacity of the OnePlus 7 Pro. You now get 4000 mAh battery inside the phone, and you get 30-watt warp charge technology on the OnePlus 7 Pro, which is actually ported from the McLaren edition of the phone. But you still don't get wireless charging. Why? Just why, OnePlus? I mean, just do it already. I'm not asking for wireless reverse charging, am I? With the charger, I could charge the battery from 0 to 100 in 1 hour and 43 minutes on an average. This is noticeably slower than the 50-watt fast charging that you get on phones like the Huawei P30 Pro. Anyway, to assess the battery life on the OnePlus 7 Pro accurately, we have to take a look at the display settings minutely. Why? Primarily because 90 Hz refresh rate can actually suck the life out of the battery. See what I did there? In my testing, I got a screen on time of 4 hours and 37 minutes with the display resolution set to QHD Plus and the refresh rate set to 90 Hz. This is the highest setting, mind you. The phone lasted me a little more than half a day in this first battery run. This got me worried. Now, you can also drop the refresh rate to 60 Hz and use auto resolution where it can switch between FHD Plus and QHD Plus resolutions on the fly. I got a screen on time of 6 hours and 23 minutes and more than a day's worth of battery juice. That's great, but you do lose out on the smoothness in the UI, which is a letdown. I ran another scenario where I reduced the resolution to FHD Plus and at 90 Hz refresh rate, and the screen on time was 5 hours and 22 minutes, which is not too bad. We can work with this. In my final test, I kept the display at auto resolution and 90 Hz. Now basically you can pick and choose the display settings on your OnePlus 7 Pro to actually save battery or to run through battery according to your use case scenario. For example, on a weekend, you're sitting back at home relaxing and playing a couple of games of PUBG, you can actually push it to QHD resolution and 90 Hz refresh rate. The flexibility is available for you, and honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about the battery life on the OnePlus 7 Pro because there are multiple settings available for it and it runs good. All I can think of is the company that was known for making flagship killer smartphones has gone ahead and made a killer flagship smartphone. It has everything that you could ask for, from a QHD Plus display to stereo speakers. OnePlus is actually listening to its core community. I really like the phone despite all its quirks. Like for example, the fact that it doesn't have wireless charging. OnePlus, you went and made an all-out flagship, but you didn't think a wireless charging coil was essential. Also, you know what? You could have made this phone a tad smaller and lighter, just saying. Anyway, this phone is going to be an easy recommendation for me in 2019. In fact, if it weren't for this job, I would probably pick one up for myself as well. The OnePlus 7 Pro is actually that polished a flagship smartphone. But how does it compare to the other polished flagship products? Let's get down to it. The best smartphone for photography, in my opinion, the Huawei P30 Pro, is a good phone too. However, the OnePlus 7 Pro is better in many areas. I believe the QHD Plus 90Hz notch-free display is better than the P30 Pro's FHD Plus teardrop notch panel. You also get better performance from the OnePlus 7 Pro and an infinitely better software experience. But yes, the ergonomics of the P30 Pro are definitely better, and you get wireless charging plus IP certification. That said, I may still pick the OnePlus 7 Pro over the P30 Pro if I were buying the phone. The Pixel 3 XL continues to be one of my favorite phones from last year with an excellent set of cameras. Yes, the P30 Pro might have technically better cameras, but I'd still go for the Pixel 3 XL for my go-to everyday shooter. This is the reason why I still have one with me at all times. The Pixel 3 XL, however, doesn't hold a candle to the OnePlus 7 Pro when it comes to the display or the performance. Moreover, the battery life on the Pixel 3 XL has always been a pain point for me. That's definitely not the case with the OnePlus 7 Pro. The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus is by far the most well-rounded flagship phone this year, making it one of the highest rated phones here at Mr. Phone. From the camera performance to the display quality to the reverse wireless charging, the Galaxy S10 Plus has something for everyone. It looks, feels and behaves premium. If you are considering the OnePlus 7 Pro over the Galaxy S10 Plus, the only tangible benefit could be the 90Hz display. Otherwise, the Galaxy S10 Plus's Snapdragon 855 variant is really a great buy. Not so much the Exynos one, because the battery life and the performance are both underpowered, which means in India the OnePlus 7 Pro still has a fighting chance against the Galaxy S10 Plus. At the time of shooting this review, I have no handle on the prices of the OnePlus 7 Pro. The only indication that I have is from Ishan Agarwal's tweet. He's generally been pretty good, but I don't want to base my judgment on a leaked price. Having said that, I know that OnePlus will price it sensibly, and if it's going to be more expensive than the OnePlus 60, don't outrage, it's fine. The OnePlus 7 Pro is going to be more expensive. To round it up, I feel that the OnePlus 7 Pro is a gamble that has paid off for the company. There is already a lot of chatter for the OnePlus 7 Pro even before launch, and I'm sure that the buzz will continue. But should you buy the phone or not? Well, the answer to that question is, if you're considering the OnePlus 7 Pro, my answer is a resounding yes. Well, that's it from me, Ershad from Mr. Phone. See you in the next video. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.